Welcome back from the break. In our News in Focus segment, we will delve into a conversation with education specialist and program evaluator Divine Pe as we delve into some issues in the educational sector. Hello and welcome to another edition of Edu News 360 in Focus segment with me, Anita Yayagbeku. On this platform, we celebrate the achievements and contributions made by individuals and organizations to the educational sector. Today, I have here with me a very special person, and he is an education specialist and also programs officer at Africa Education Watch. We are going to delve into a conversation with him, and you get to know all about him and what he's doing to contribute to the educational sector. And he goes by the name Divine Pe. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Welcome to the InFocus segment.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Great. Well, before we enter into any serious conversation, we want to know about you, your background, your schooling, if you had any difficulties in school, any financial issues. Just give us an overview about who we have here, Divine Pe.
All right. Okay, so Divine Pe, a rural guy. I grew up in the Volta region.
Okay.
Specifically Have, and both parents are from the Volta region. So I'm 100% an area.
Okay.
I primarily have all my education in the Volta region, my primary, junior high school, senior high school, and partly tertiary school also was there. So for primary school, I enrolled in Habe RC Primary,
Okay.
proceeded to the GSS, and then after BEC, proceeded to Senior High School.
Okay.
Those of you who may not know, it's just one of the neighboring towns around Ho.
Okay.
So secondary school, I offered for the program of social science, geography option, and of course that was my favorite program in school. So
Okay.
geography and economics. Growing up, I had always wanted to be an economist. So I love the option of that. But God has his own path that I had to rather enter the path of education. So after senior high school, I went to St. Francis College of Education, where I trained as a professional teacher. I taught for some few years before exiting the classroom to enter the space of policy advocacy with Africa Education Watch. So after College of Education, I proceeded to Valley View University, where I had my first degree in IT education, and then went to University of Cape Coast for my master's degree in educational measurement and evaluation. Currently doing an MPhil in a different education program.
Wow. You're doing an MPhil in an education program. Okay, so you mentioned you wanted to be an economist. What actually changed? Was there anything that caused you to change your...
All right, so yes, so I had always wanted to be an economist,
Yeah.
and economics plus geography, as I mentioned, were my favorite in school. So after SHS, my school is a less endowed school. So government has this program where when you perform quite well, they select best performing students in such less endowed schools, and they offer them admission in any of the tertiary institutions. So during my year, I was offered land economy at KNUST.
Okay.
So always because I wanted to do an economic program, I thought land economics has something to do with economics. I didn't know anything about the program land economy. So the headmaster called me that, okay, this year you are one of the people that they are offering the option of land economy to. I said, yeah, I want to do it because it has economy attached to it, but practically it has nothing related to economics. All right, so, but the fact is that I lost my dad when I was in second year or third year of my final year at SHS. The responsibility was shifted to my sister, who would have to take care of two of us because my senior brother was also in a tertiary institution. So honestly, there wasn't a money for me to go to the university directly. So the option was to go to College of Education, where I went to training college at Hokwe. So yes, it wasn't the fault to become into or to veer into the education space. It wasn't the fault, but because circumstance, special economic circumstance pushed me. But I have never regretted. It has been one of the I felt I would have regretted if I were to take the option of the land economy. It was yes, yes. So I always thank God for His part, that the part I found myself contributing in the education space. Yeah.
Beautiful. So growing up whilst in school, did you have any academic challenges? And when your father died, did that have a huge problem on your academics, your finances, and any other thing that had to do with you being in school?
Okay, so I must say that has done well as much as mom as well in terms of my education. They have done them so that they are very best to ensure that school fees wise we don't lack that, and then also exercise books, textbooks that you have to study. Mom was a petty trader, dad was a stenographer, but they always do their very best to ensure that our educational material, school fees, they are always paid. So after that passed, my sister will have to shoulder that responsibility, because mom as a petty trader, her business wasn't moving so well at that time, so the responsibility rested on the elder sister. So yes, in terms of finances, there was challenges, because at times at the SHS level, getting the money to settle bill. But I thank my sister, who has been so instrumental in my education. So after seeing me through senior high school, I mean my sister, she saw me through College of Education, and I must also say at my university day at Valley View, she also supported me at that level. She has been so helpful. And I will never tell my success story without reference to my sister, who goes by the name Celestina Grady. We use a platform to say a big thank you to her for all that she has done for me and my sibling. So yes, so there has been some challenges in terms of economics as well, but God has been good.
Yeah, He has been. From the way you're even talking, it's not been easy.
It's not been
but
easy.
God has been good.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So what was the first instance or incident that brought you to the educational sector, and you were like, whoa, this could be something I could take up and then have
so when I entered college, like I said, I didn't want to go to college initially, but when I entered, all of a sudden, within some few months in school, I felt like this is for me. Issues of education is for me. So quickly, I developed the interest in issues of education. I quickly adjusted to the fact that, look, I wanted to move beyond the space of saying this is what I wanted to be to now where I am in, and make the reality out of it. So the fact is, after a few months in school, I quickly adjusted myself into the space. I took my educational courses seriously, and right in school, I envisaged some part in the educational space. I always, in college, I always said, okay, one day I'm going to end up as in the lecture theater as a lecturer, and I know I'll get there by God's grace. God has been showing the path. So yes, when I entered the college has quickly transformed me, and I quickly adjusted that, look, this is what I want to do. So after completion, and I was posted to my first station in Peki. So I taught there for a while, and in the classroom, I miss the classroom. I must say, I miss the classroom of teaching for some years. Before moving out and now into the policy space. It's been so much of fun interacting with the students and ensuring that they are able to discover themselves when it comes to teaching and learning. My teaching philosophy practically is about let the student be at the center of constructing or discovering their own knowledge. As a teacher, you are not the one to help them to discover their own knowledge. So put them at the center, let them play with materials, let them research and come out with their own knowledge. When that happens, then they are able to know that, look, this knowledge I generated, it's not a teacher imparting it. No, don't make it like you are a teacher imparting knowledge. You can't impart it. So let students be at the center of knowledge generation. So I've done my best in the classroom, forming clubs, and ensuring that bringing up programs like school enrollment drive to ensure that children enroll so early in school, because the enrollment age in school is primary school is age 4, starting from KG, and there are adverse effects when children enroll very late. So in my community where I was teaching, there were issues of children enrolling late, so I had to intervene by bringing out early age enrollment. We go to the community, sensitize parents why they need to bring their wards to school at right age. And beyond that, I also brought a program called Read Write Project to identify students that have challenges with literacy, so that we have a special interventional program for them after school, and then also weekends and holidays to help them catch up with their colleagues that were doing well in terms of reading. So I also brought that intervention, and last one was Safe School Project, where to ensure that our schools are free from violence, whether sexual violence, psychological violence, or physical violence. So also brought that to help the school to be safe for students to become. Because if school is not safe, that child will not wake up and feel encouraged to come to school, because that child is afraid that, look, I may be beaten by one of the teacher or by one of my colleagues. A college student may engage in a fight with me and I don't want to come. Or a teacher may insult me. That's the psychological abuse or violence aspect. Insult and all sort of name calling to make the school environment unfriendly for the child. So I brought in some of those interventional programs to help the student, and I love my pupils. They love me, and I received a call from one of them who is in a secondary school now. Yeah, some of them have graduated from secondary school, and one of them even called me recently. Yeah, so it's been a very lovely experience being in the classroom, and I miss it even as I'm outside the classroom.
Amazing. Yeah. So even as an education specialist and also being part of Africa Education Watch, do you do things personally to help the educational sector, and what are those things? Yeah,
so as I mentioned, it started from being in a classroom, and then bringing in interventional programs like the Rewrite Project, targeting.
So those were your personal projects?
Yeah, those were my personal projects.
Okay.
You know, we don't do program activities to say, like, we are going to community to do this. Yeah. We are kind of research and advocacy organization. So we're more related to government policy program doing advocacy. But beyond advocacy, I believe that there needs to be some interventional program directly affecting the students. So that's where I come into with those programs of enrollment, so that the student can enroll very early, so that it doesn't affect their academic performance and their likelihood of dropping out. And then the Safe School Project that we embark on to sensitize both teachers and then the pupils for the need to promote a safe environment that is welcoming for every student or pupil. So that if a child wakes up, the child knows that, look, I want to be in school because school is safe. School will be lovely, you know. So that is the starting point. I always tell teachers when I interact with them, even outside teaching, because even outside teaching or while still with EduWatch, I run program for teachers on some of these safe schools issues, and then also some of the pedagogical issues. When we talk of pedagogy, it's about art of teaching. So I interact with teachers on how they can promote pedagogical issues in their classroom that is inclusive. Inclusive means you bring everybody on board, high learning, average learners, low achiever, gender dimension. You bring everybody on board to ensure that at the end of the day, everybody achieves a learning target. So yes, while doing the policy work with Africa Education Watch, I do personal activities that are directly related to teachers or the pupils.
Yeah. Great, that is amazing. I think you're really doing well.
Thank you.
So how do you combine working with EduWatch, doing your personal things? I mean, it should be work. I mean, it is work.
Yeah, definitely. It is not easy because EduWatch work is very involving, you know. Research, analyze the research outcome or the data, and then use the outcome to inform advocacy at the national or community level. It's very, very involving. But you know, if you're able to schedule your time well, I'm sure you can have time for other stuff that you still love doing. So I must also admit that I have been supporting people that are engaged on some of these things that are, if I'm not there directly, they are able to step in to help out. So it's scheduling and then also falling on people to step in for meal times.
Right. Since we have you here, I want you to know what I want to know from you what you think about Ghana's education system.
as at now. And what can we do? Thank you for sitting well.
Yes.
What can we do to help the system or help the situation, especially when it comes to basic school? I believe that there's been a form of neglect for the basic school. Even Kofi Asari from EduWatch mentioned that. So can you give us an overview of what you think about that?
Okay. Yeah, so basically you look at our basic education system as an education specialist that has been currently at the policy level, previously at the practice level. You look at the practice and the policy level, you'd have realized that we have done something quite significant over the years to trying to better a lot of our educational system, especially when it comes to improving access.
Okay.
You know, when we're talking about education, we're looking at it from the access, the quality, and then the management dimension.
Okay.
So when it comes to access, like how many children have we enrolled in school? How many children are having access to basic education or primary education? We have done so well over the years when it comes to that. But if you look at the data, it's telling us that, look, we are achieving 85% when it comes to net enrollment ratio, and then over 100% when it comes to gross enrollment ratio. The net and then the gross, the difference is that the net is looking at age appropriate level. So if I'm counting the number of students in Ghana that are in class 1, it means that I'm counting for net, I'll be counting for those that are at age 6, because primarily at age 6 you should be in primary 1.
Yeah.
So all the people that are at in courts, so the P1 and out of age 6, they form the net enrollment. But of course, some people will be under age, some people will be below the 6. So when you add those people that are over age, below the 6, you add them to those that are actually age 6 and are in P1. We call that the gross enrollment ratio. So we have done well in totally 85% for net enrollment, and then the gross we've done over 100%. That's our success story. Yet the issue remains the quality, how we have to ensure that we don't end at the point of access. You know, World Bank calls it learning poverty. They are in school, but they are not learning. So that is the learning poverty. That word was coined in 2018 when we're looking at the dimension of children that are actually in school but not learning. And the data tells that by age 10, and if you look at Ghana, age 10, you should be in P6, your P5, P6. But 87% of them are not able to read basic text at their age level. They can't read, and those that can read cannot even understand. So it tells you that we are getting them in school, but the challenge remains how to help them to be able to appreciate the things that they are learning. And even if we don't want to relate to World Bank data that pegs is at 87, we can take our own standardized test that we did, national test that we did for P4 in 2021. If you look at that data, the average number of people that are able to or were able to pass that particular examination were about 54%. So it tells you that 46% are unable to read basic text or decode basic text. So that's a challenge with our education system. How do we get those that are in school actually learning? So yes, we have done well in enrollment, but yet there are a good number of children that are still not in school. We have 1.4 million children that are still not in school currently, and 1.2 have never been to school before. So that's why the fact that we have done well in access, we still have a long way to do to ensure that school is closer to some people so that they can also have access. We also done well in terms of transition in terms of P6 to junior high school. So we've gotten a good number of our children that are easily to transit from primary school to junior high school. The data is about 93%. So we get 93. So 7% actually don't move from GSS to primary to GSS. But if you look at the regional dimension, it's why it looks good on the national level. If you look at the regional level of data disaggregation, it's very worse in the northern part of the country. Actually, if you go to the northern part of the country, transition rates over the poor, about 60% of them are unable to move from P6 to junior high school. So we still, that's one of the issues in the basic education system. When you want to go to regional and district level, then we begin to see the disparity that is existing in terms of access and then quality issues. So we need to bridge that gap of disparity that exists in regional issues, and that comes to a point of focusing on or neglecting basic education, because there are a lot of issues that are still existing to be addressed. 1.3 million children not have, sorry, 2.3 million children not having desks in school to sit on, and we're talking about, as I mentioned, 1.4 of the million not in school. We need to address some of those things. 4 years into the implementation of the new standard-based curriculum, we don't have adequate textbooks in school for students to be using to learn. So our financing model for basic education has been poor, because if you look at the data, it tells you that since the last decade, the financing of basic education continues to fall, and it becomes worse when free senior high school sets in, because we need to sustain the free senior high school program. And what it means is that money must come from somewhere, other subsectors of the education area, to support the sustainability of the free senior high school. And that is what we are seeing. So the remaining pocket of issues that need to be addressed in our educational space, they can be addressed, one, if we improve financing, and number two, if we are able to look at teacher distribution in the country, because the most important factor in any educational system when it comes to quality is the teacher. So we need to really look at how we distribute our teachers across the country. There are still empty classrooms in many parts of the country that needs to be addressed, and we need to redistribute our teachers so that students can, or pupils can have teachers to be with, and then also we should be able to invest to ensure that classrooms are conducive for students to learn. Of course, as a teacher or former teacher, I can end by saying government should do well to remunerate teachers very well, so that they can also do their very best for our pupils.
Right. You've said so much, and it has covered basic, it has covered textbooks, it has covered lack of desks and everything. So how do you feel as an educationist when you see issues like this and you come out to talk about it, and then government is still like, how is it like when media is on the case of education?
Yes.
How is it?
Well, I tell you, the education space, because every day there is something to talk about, because the issues are not finishing, and it's very disheartening at times to continue talking about the same issue over and over and over. Look, the issues we are discussing today, they didn't emerge today. They have been there for several years. And it's unfortunate that we keep discussing the same issue over and over and over again. Whereas, should we be discouraged? We are not discouraged, because our work is to hold government accountable, and we are sure that if we keep silent over the issues, that is when government would also be more adamant in not paying attention to the issues. So we'll continue to make the noise, in quotes, or do our advocacy for government to address some of these issues. Of course, for advocacy, there are a lot of issues that government have come in to intervene, if not for advocacy. You know, people will say, "Oh, you talk too much, you talk too much." But the point is, if you don't talk, the issues will remain. So our work is to talk, and that's the point of advocacy. If you keep quiet, the issues will remain. So the issues still remain, but it tells that we need more collective voices in the space, so that we can become stronger. We don't need to leave the advocacy for just few voices to do. When we're able to strengthen our voices collectively from the media space, from more civil society organizations, and even mobilizing community people to understand the dynamic of issues, so that even community people can demand local level accountability from their district assemblies. Then we begin to solve the issues at the local level, even through to the national level. So that missing link is there where we need to empower the local people to begin to demand accountability from their district assembly, because government begins from the local level, the district assembly level. Unfortunately, we have left the local level in our work. We don't want to feel like the central government must address the issue. No, we need to get back to the community level, empower the community people, the parents that are having their wards in the school, empower them for them to understand the ramification of non-availability of textbooks in school, non-availability of exercise books in school, desks in school, and what they can do to hold their district assembly people accountable so that they can begin to solve the problem from such level. So that needs to be done. I'm sure that is the next work we need to focus on, because if we don't want to take the issues at the national level, it becomes quite difficult. But if we move down to the community level, empower them, then they also begin to raise their voices at such level to call on their district assemblies to intervene. I'm sure we'll begin to see more of the practical changes that we want.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. So, aside from your Safe School and then Read Right, are we supposed to expect any other projects that is going to enhance our educational sector? Are you going to come out with more projects like that?
Yeah, so we're anticipating to come out with a lot of programs in the educational space. Of course, directly for teachers or for the pupils, or even for heads of school. One thing I have discovered is also the challenge when it comes to management. You know, that's one of the problems when it comes to public basic education. You go to the private sector, one of their strengths is the management of the school. You know, we say private schools, they don't have qualified teachers, trained teachers, but they are doing well. If you go deep, you do the study, you know that partly is because their management is good, you know. So how do we also learn that best practice from the public school to be able to, from the private school to bring back to the public school so that we can help our school management at the public school level? That's very important. For me, not until we begin to look at management issues at the public basic schools, then some of the issues would not be addressed. You know, if Professor Adai will tell you everything rises and falls on leadership. Yeah. So some of the issues that we are seeing partly is because we are not seeing good leadership at our public basic schools. So for me, I'm anticipating that in future some of our programs will be targeting what's in the capacity of the school leaders, or so to say headmasters and headmistresses or head teachers, on how to effectively they can manage their schools in terms of setting goals, carrying teachers along to achieve the academic goal for their school, for every learner, and how they can interpret student data and use such data to inform their direction, how teaching and learning should go, how co-curricular and non-curricular activities should go, so that overall we begin to improve our schools one at a time.
Great. It's been an interesting time sitting here with you, and it shows that you have so much knowledge in the educational sector, and we hope that with people like you, our educational system is going to revolve for the good. So I want you to share your last words with our audience. I want you to speak to the educational system through the media, and I also want you to speak to people who are also contributing to the educational sector in their own little way. Kindly share with us your last words.
All right, thank you for the opportunity, and for those that are doing their best in the educational space, starting from our teachers, we acknowledge the massive work you are doing for our pupils with the little resources you have at your disposal. You continue to do your very best. We will continue to strengthen you through our advocacy so that we also raise voice on what government needs to do to make your work even more effective and efficient. And then for those that are doing individual projects in one way or the other to contribute to the quality of education, those that would have to do community level intervention, even going to schools to talk to the pupils, or donating desks, we acknowledge all of that, and we know government alone cannot do it. So such individual programs and activities, we should know that will go a very long way to enhance the quality of our education system. We appreciate that. And to government, of course, we are not saying government can address all the problems, but it's very important for government to set its priority right when it comes to, especially when it comes to the financing of education. Look at the 2021 Africa Outlook report. It tells that in Africa, we are the second largest continent when it comes to investment in education, GDP investment in education, but we waste about 40% of the resources we put into education. So government, what it can do is to cut on the waste in the education space, that such that the little that we put into the system, we will to get the maximum output from it by ensuring that you set your priority right. I don't want to mention some of the issues that are not of priority, but just to say government needs to set its priority right so that the little money we put in the education, we can get the maximum output for it. So I'm sure on part of government, that's what government also need to do in this particular crucial time, especially when we are in a time of economic austerity.
Great, thank you so much. It has been an insightful time with you here, and
thank you.
I am grateful for joining us on our InFocus segment. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Dear viewers, it's been an amazing conversation with Divine Pair, who is an education specialist and also a programs officer at the African Education Watch. Next week, I'll come with another amazing personality. Watch out for me next week. And my name is Anita Yayagbekwu. Catch you same time. Bye.
Do you have anyone you want to celebrate in the month of January? Send details to Joy Learning and let us wish that special person for you.
It's time to wish your loved ones well on that special occasion. Is it the birthday or anniversary of your child, friend, classmate, your schoolmate, your teacher, or non-teaching staff of your school? The all-new JL Birthday Wish by Ghana's #1 educational TV channel hits your regular classroom screen. And as usual, it is time for Jack to play and have fun. It has been made easy for you, and this is how. Send a picture of your loved ones. Add their names, school, and location, and a heartwarming birthday message. And finally, follow us on official Joy Learning TV on Instagram, like the JL Birthday Wish post, and tag 5 friends. Send it to our WhatsApp line 0247 108 738. And voila! Your birthday wish will be aired on Joy Learning TV and all our social media platforms. Learning is made fun with the JL Birthday Wish. Joy Learning. Keep learning.
That's all we have for you today on Edu News 360. Thank you for watching. Keep watching Joy Learning TV for all your favorite educational program. I am Anita Yayagbekwu.